As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's absolutely no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and way more. So you guys can visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL.
And if Ken, we've got our mugs. Tyvis, you're seeing yours for the first time.
I did see mine.
Our mugs. Jason's wife, Alessia, made these for all of us. Very cool. We're very appreciative of that. It's a very cool thing.
It's hot. It's hot chocolate season, so I'm
is.
definitely going to use
it.
this.
It certainly is. And we got Mary Kay Cabot coming on today. Sean Merriman, an all-time great defensive player. He's coming on with us today. So a lot to get to. We're going to talk Pro Bowl and who on the Browns should be considered for Pro Bowl. We start to look ahead a little bit to the Texans coming up. Will C.J. Stroud, the Texans just won this past week. Will C.J. Stroud play? I think that's still up in the air. I went through some of the playoff scenarios, by the way, guys.
You gave us a whole paragraph.
Yeah. I was. I don't know if I tweeted it at all, but I put it in our group chat. And let me just start there for a minute, because people were asking, could the Browns clinch this week? Technically, they can't clinch this week. I didn't find a scenario. I was running through the New York Times playoff simulator. I was trying to find a scenario they could clinch this week. Technically, they can't. However, if they win this week, they have a 99% chance of making the playoffs. Wow. So while it's not, they technically, there's probably like 15 games that would have to go against them in the final 2 weeks or the final 3 weeks. But they basically clinch, but not for sure. And the path to winning the division is not crazy. Browns have to win out, and they need the Ravens to lose to the Niners this week, which I think most of us would say that's realistic. And then they have to lose to either Miami or Pittsburgh. They don't have to lose both. They can lose one of those two. If the Browns win out and the Ravens lose to San Francisco and either Miami or Pittsburgh, the Browns would win the division.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. And it sounds very doable.
It's not insane.
Yeah,
I mean, what's the hardest part of that? Because the Browns are, I haven't checked the updated spread. We'll look at FanDuel in a minute. As of yesterday, I think they were a 1-point dog in Houston. If Stroud doesn't play, it'll probably eventually the Browns will be favored. The Browns will be favored next week at home against the Jets. Depending on how the Bengals play the next 2 weeks, the Browns could be a slight dog in Cincinnati, but even if they are, it's probably 1 or 2 points, maybe pick them or whatever. But all three of these games are very winnable for the Browns.
Yeah.
Baltimore, I think we all think they're going to lose. I think the toughest thing is Baltimore losing to Miami at home or at Pittsburgh. Now, I don't think Pittsburgh's very good right now, guys, but Pittsburgh is always tricky with Baltimore.
I think it depends on – that's the last game of the season?
Yeah.
It depends on what they record, because, Mike Tomlin never wants to finish under 500, which he has never done. So if it comes to that game where you sitting at 8-8, like – they're going to go all out.
Pittsburgh could still be alive for the playoffs for a wild card themselves.
If you are the Ravens, the only thing I could think about if I was a Baltimore Ravens fan was, please don't get injured. You play 3 teams. These games all count for these other teams. So it's not like at the end of the season where people don't have their guys in. These guys are going to be ready to play. And my thing is that the Ravens are playing their best football, I think, because they are the most healthy out of a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Take a look at their defense. I haven't seen very many guys off their defense.
Haven't. They've lost Mark Andrews. That's a big loss.
That's a big one.
And they just this week lost Keaton Mitchell. He's done for the season.
That hurts a little bit.
But they haven't. But you're right. By and large, I mean, there's not a lot of fully healthy teams.
They unlikely came out of anywhere. He was unlikely to be a good contributor, and he just pulls up.
I would appreciate him on my fantasy team.
I mean, we could. There's trade deadline. We can't trade now.
You ain't gonna use him.
Here's the thing.
From the time from the time you got him last week to the end of the year, you're not gonna use him.
How's about we do an illegal move? I drop him. You drop your dude, and then we tell each other we're gonna drop, and then pick him up at the same time. Does that work?
No, because you probably hire on the waiver line.
Yeah, you're right. Because now on the waiver list, you're right. But I will say this though.
Yeah.
I would not want to get Lamar Jackson hurt, and I'm going to ask you guys this question too. Is there a way that the Browns would be locked into one of the positions, because a lot of people are wondering, hey, if we get locked into a position, can we rest some guys? Would you rest some guys?
I would. I would definitely rest if the Browns are locked into a position. Yeah, I mean, if the Browns win their next two and the Ravens win their next two, they'll probably be locked into the 5th spot, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
So
even if they wasn't locked in, they should, as long as they locked into the playoffs.
Right.
I think.
But if you have a chance to win the division, you're going to play.
Yes.
But
if you locked into the play, like if you can't win the division and you're locked into the playoffs,
right?
It doesn't matter.
5 or 6.
It doesn't matter. So you're gonna rest.
Right. But what's interesting, also, I don't want to go through the scenarios of this because we got a lot to get to. If the Browns win out, even the 1 seed is not off the table right now.
Really?
The 1 seed is not off the table.
Because
there's a lot that has to happen.
Like the Dolphins had to lose some games.
I think the Dolphins would only have to lose 1.
And they play the Bills the last game of the season.
Well, and they play the Ravens.
Yeah, they do.
But
we need the Ravens to
right,
lose.
but let's say the Ravens lose to the Niners and Steelers and then beat the Dolphins. You could end up with a scenario, and the Chiefs need to lose a game. So there's a lot that has to happen. But the Chiefs, who knows? The Chiefs aren't playing great football.
Maybe Cincinnati will win that game.
There you go. It's possible. The Bengals
well,
playing pretty well right now.
Jamar Chase is
Although
out,
Jamar Chase is hurt, and the Bengals were outside of Burrow were completely healthy.
Yeah.
And now they lost Reeder and Chase.
Yeah.
Chase is not done for the year probably, but who knows? But anyway, and you know what? You can't write off any team with injuries right now because we've seen so much crazy stuff.
The good thing about the Browns, though, is that they dealt with probably the most injuries, but they're used to it now. These other teams are scrambling like, oh my God, we lost this guy. We don't know what to do. The Browns is like, we've been dealing with it all year, so we good.
Another guy hurt? Oh,
they got the leg up in that event, in that
they
category.